Welcome, everyone. Another episode of Disabled Girls Who Lift. We got Marybeth with a new microphone, myself here, and a guest. Let me introduce myself and then we'll go down the line. This is Marcia on Seminole Tribe land in South Florida. Pronouns she, they.
It's Mary Beth coming in with a new microphone. Hopefully, it sounds just a little bit better than the last two. I'm standing on Ohlone land up here in Northern California, she, her pronouns, and we are super excited. You've probably seen her on our page before, Rebekah Wise, aka R. Bex. She comes to us from Shinnecock land over in Southampton, New York. And as an Indigenous and Black CrossFitter with MS from the Hamptons, watches a lot of bad TV, feels very strongly about it, and built herself a shred shed, y'all. You don't know what that means? It's a home gym during lockdown. Uh, just like everybody else, we got to train without everybody else's germs. So welcome, Becca.
Thank
Nice to have
you.
you.
Yes, so Rebecca, so I'm from Shinnecock. I actually live on the Shinnecock reservation. I'm a Shinnecock tribal member, and like full on tribal member, tribal employee, all of that good stuff. And yeah, I built a gym, like a full on.
That's right. Shred should. But what's okay? I don't know geography. And you said you off camera, you said you live farther from Jersey City and like the main city.
Yeah.
So you're on like mainland New York.
No.
Like,
So
what does that
I
mean?
not even. I'm from Long Island. Um, and I live on Long Island on the east end of Long Island. So it's funny, recently I told someone I was from Long Island and they were like, "You don't have that accent at all." And I was like, "Yes, so the east end, Suffolk County, the Hamptons." So like I live in Southampton.
Oh, okay, I
That's where
know
the
Long
reservation
Island.
is. So we're
Okay.
way out east. It's like farmland and very big houses everywhere. Um, and it's about 2 hours away from New York City. Um, and most of my friends are from the city, and I used to live in the city. And it's funny, I tell them I'm like 2 hours away, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's so far." And it's like there's a whole hour left of Long Island before
Yeah.
you get to the tip. I think Long Island's the biggest island in the United States. It's just huge.
It's out there. It's wild because I went there once. Some of my family lives out there, and I just felt like I was in Florida. Like I was like, all right, you guys have plazas, we got plazas. Oh, there's a Lowe's here, there's a Lowe's here. It wasn't like, oh,
Yeah.
New York City skyscrapers. It was just like we're
Yeah.
just chilling out here,
And
and I
it's
was
like
like,
beautiful
yeah,
green, right?
Well,
it's
yeah, it's
spread
really
out.
green out here. We have a lot of farmland. We have a lot
That's
of
amazing.
trees everywhere, and it's funny because Long Island, probably where you went, Marcia, it was probably like Nassau or like Western Suffolk, and that's just like everywhere else. It's just like the rest of like Long Island. There's shops everywhere. There's highways. There's all this stuff. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing out where I live. Like I live in the country.
Yeah.
And that's probably why it's like a big vacation area because there's just like not a lot of stuff to do, and there's not a lot of big crowds and we have a lot more space and stuff. Like to go shopping is like 20 minutes away. That's where all the stores are. Um,
Wow.
there's nothing in this area. And then just think there's a whole hour east of me. And like those people have to go like an hour and a half to go to like Walmart.
Is that still
Yeah.
reservation land or that's not the hour
No,
that's left?
the reservation, we're kind of on like a little small peninsula kind of in Southampton. So there's like three entrances to the reservation and we're just kind of on our own little territory. Well, we call it, no, they started calling it territory. When I was growing up, it was the res. That's what we always called it. But I guess this has always been our land specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you guys know about the Trail of Tears. Everybody had to move and stuff, but we have always been in this area. We
Oh,
Yeah.
lost a lot of our land, but like we are still on our land that we've always been on.
that's
And it's just
amazing.
and it's just wild because you hear about, especially with the pandemic, right? All these celebrities flying out to the Hamptons to
Yeah.
escape from how populous New York is. There's way
Yeah.
too many people. I got the money. I'm gonna rent a, you know, $30 billion home
Mansion
for
on
a
the
weekend.
beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there a lot of like interaction there? I know you said you're on the peninsula, but how
Yeah,
much
no,
of that do you see?
like it's interesting. I think if you look at out west reservations, they have a lot more property and they might have like a grocery store or something like that. They might have some schools. We don't have anything like that because we're just so small. So we do have to just go to town for everything. And everybody from this area knows someone from the res. Everybody from the res has, not res friends and stuff like that. We went to the public schools. um a lot of the older generation specifically, like my grandfather and stuff, he knew so many rich white people from town because he would like walk their dogs and get their newspapers and stuff like that.
Mhm.
A lot of people back in the day used to like clean houses for those people and stuff like that. So there's a lot of interaction. We're very much part of the community and stuff.
That must be an interesting dynamic because that's kind of already what rich white people are used to, right? Like Black people being their servants, like not being real people, just being a person providing the service for their richness.
Yeah.
And now you have an
it's
entire tribe of people that's probably a lot of people, like that's how they bring food home to your table, is doing that, I'm sure.
But y'all were there first.
Yeah, but you were there
I
first.
think we
Like
were
it's
the
fucking
first.
wild.
I think we were the first incorporated town. Southampton was the first incorporated town in New York State. And yeah, so like growing up, like, well, older generations used to do that. Now it's a lot of Latino immigrants do a lot of that stuff. So like Shinnecock people aren't as much doing that. But like just the whole time I was growing up, my grandfather was like, I used to walk dogs at that house over there by the ocean. But yeah, it's a very interesting place. The Hamptons are really interesting because they definitely have a reputation of being very, very rich. And that is true. But most like it's expensive out here and there's a lot of big houses because people come out here for the summer. So they have summer houses.
Mhm.
I used to work at a school in the technology department, and I once sat in while some people tried to sell us some software for the kids, like a math aid program. And and the person who was there, she was like, it's kind of interesting that you guys need this because normally, rich areas, they don't need a program for the iPads for their kids. Their kids have tutors. If they have an issue with math, they pay for tutors. And then she went, but I've also noticed in rich areas, you need a lot of lower class people to like mow your lawn,
Yeah.
Mhm.
those rich people aren't going to do it.
No.
So, the school I worked at here in Southampton, all the kids had iPads. I think they think at this point, they're probably all the way in kindergarten, K through 12 have iPads.
Damn.
The kids get a new iPad every time they go into a new building. So in 5th grade and in 8th or in 9th grade, they get brand new iPads. But like 50% of the kids are on free and reduced lunch.
Wow.
And it's just because all these
Concept.
rich people have big mansions out here that they pay taxes on and they're never here aside from like 2 months out of the year. But like all those taxes they pay go into the school district. So like we have all these resources. There's a planetarium in my high school. It also was a very small high school. There was like 150 kids in my graduating class, but we had like a really small planetarium
Holy crap.
in the school and they like rent it out to other schools. So like
That is
people
just
like take field trips to go to my high school to go to the planetarium.
just a different
Yeah.
reality. That doesn't even.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. But like I said, like 50% of kids are on free and reduced lunch.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me a little like I go back to LA where I grew up, for 18 years. And every time I go back every year, something's been gentrified. You're saying a new Whole Foods, a new 3, 4, 5-story mall that wasn't there before. But at the same time, people that I grew up with have been pushed out or, no
Yeah.
longer living there. So you've been there literally all your life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Have those same people kind of stayed as well, or?
People from the res do stay. A lot of the white kids, if their parents have a house, and I don't mean the rich kids, I just mean like,
Yeah.
someone whose parents bought a house in the 80s, and they have a small house, those people are still here. A lot of the Black people moved out. There was an area in my town, you had to kind of go up a hill that was named Hillcrest, so we call it the Hill, that area. that the whole time I was growing up and all the time before that was all Black families, and they're moving out. They're moving out. It's so expensive, and it's not necessarily like, sometimes like every once in a while, like a rich person will try to like gentrify the hill, but like, the people who are still there are still there, and they're like, I don't care about this. I'm gonna be as loud as I want.
Yeah.
But a lot of those houses that were historically, the Black families of Southampton, it turned into like a lot of Latinos have been moving up there. Not necessarily because it's cheaper, but like, when I worked at the school, the kids did tell me that like there'd be like 3 or 4 families in a household, and that's how they afford to live there. While the Black families, they weren't doing that. It was like a single family home for them.
Yeah, they were just living a regular life, and then they're like, fuck, it's expensive now.
Yeah, so now they're moving to a town like 20 minutes away, or for some reason a lot of them are moving to Virginia. Like a lot of Black kids I went to high school with just like live in Virginia now.
Yeah, that's wild. So, I mean, where does your like CrossFit and lifting weights, is that from when you left and started living in the city, or is that a part of, like, is there a CrossFit by you and that's a part of the community, or not really?
So there was a CrossFit gym in my town. I started doing CrossFit, I think, when I was like 29. There was a CrossFit gym in town. It has closed down. And it's like some other sort of probably functional fitness type gym now.
Yeah.
But I was working at the school, and a lot of the teachers went to CrossFit. And, it was like the older teachers who were like my mom's age were doing CrossFit. And then like some really young fit teachers were doing CrossFit. And that was kind of part of the deciding factor. It was like, okay, well, if this 6-year-old lady who's friends with my mom can do CrossFit,
so can
I think I could probably do CrossFit too. But no, yeah, so that's how I started. It was just,
I figured it'd have to be a different vibe because you're in like a small town, everybody knows each other, and CrossFit's kind of like, like Starbucks was to coffee as CrossFit was to gym. So I don't know how that hits small towns.
Yeah.
Right. Well, did you have a planetarium in your high school? I think not.
It's really small. It only fits like one grade at a time. And it was very small grades. Like there was 150 kids in my graduating class. I don't think we could all have fit in the planetarium at one time. It was like 75 people can sit in that planetarium. And the thing, the like planet, I don't know what it is because I never took astronomy. We had an astronomy class, but I didn't take that class.
Damn.
The thing, it lowers into the office of the librarian. So the librarian's office, I think they probably have to tell the librarian like the schedule for when we're using it. But like, imagine you're just in your office and then suddenly this big thing lowers
damn
from
it, they
the
didn't
ceiling.
tell me that was at 2. God damn it, let me get out of here. Wow.
You just have a planetarium thing in your office. It's like a very small school. It's just weird. We had a planetarium there also.
Yeah. No, I don't know anything about small town vibes at all. I know about small communities per se, like immigrant culture, like all the immigrants know each other. You introduce yourself like, I'm the daughter of, and they're like, yeah, I know her.
Yeah.
I know that, but small town vibes does not compute.
It's very strange. Like going out to a bar here, you're going to see so many people you went to high school with. Like just so many of them. Go out for Thanksgiving at a bar. It's going to be crazy packed, and you're just going to see all these people you haven't seen in years because everybody's home.
That's so weird.
It's weird and it's terrible. It's not great. I don't want to see those people. So
no. Yeah. I mean, at least if I was, I don't know, in a giant mall and I saw somebody, I got tons of mall to walk away.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Just you see them everywhere. Just go to a grocery store. You're definitely going to see somebody you know.
No, thanks.
And you mentioned being a tribal employee. What does that mean?
So I work for the tribe. I am the director of communications for the tribe. And for the most part, it's just I send out a lot of emails all the time for other departments. Great. And I post stuff on Facebook for other departments for the most part. But like we have a newsletter that at some point was every month, but then like a couple communication directors later, we don't do it as much. Right now I'm trying to work on building us a website.
Neat.
But I don't know. I'm very, I guess, very involved in the tribe. I don't do a lot of things. Like I don't, for example, dance at powwow, but like I always try to get as many outsiders to come to powwow as possible. I've worked in our education department, like tutoring. I did after school program for a while. I had a classroom full of like first and second graders,
Oh,
and I was just making them do their homework for 2 hours. You know, all those, I don't know. It's a small community. We do all these things, and one of them is I just also work for the tribe now.
That's awesome. And it's all excuse me, it's all paid work,
Yeah.
like working for the city.
Yeah. It's paid work. I have to put in a timesheet every Monday. I say I work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and that's not really the case. I do things on the weekend. I do things after work, all that stuff. But I just put in a timesheet, and they just pay me for it.
yeah. But this is since you've been back moving because of the pandemic and working from home, or you were always doing that?
Yeah, I think probably in like June or something, was really sick of my job in the city, which I still unfortunately have, and it's like May. But I was like, I'm gonna apply to that job. I'm just gonna come home and I'm gonna do that also. And so I came back. Like I applied, they gave me the job, and I came home, and I'm unfortunately still working on my other job. But like also I built a shed, so
Yeah.
that's a plus side of
You got time for that.
Yeah,
the
that's a plus
shitty
side of
job
having two
funded the
jobs. I'm
shred shed.
surprised my boss at my other job hasn't been like, "How did you afford that?" Because he must know he does not pay me enough money to just, like, have bought that much gym equipment.
She must have a great credit card.
Yeah, like he's a CrossFitter. He knows that like a Concept 2 thing is very expensive.
Yeah.
But he has not questioned like how I did that at all. But no, I don't know. I was in the city. I had an apartment in Queens, and then I was just in my apartment for a couple months, and I was like, I don't know. This is not for me. I've only been in the city for 2 years at this point. There's no reason.
Oh,
for
that
me
was
to
still
suffer.
new for you anyway.
Yeah, it was new, and I liked it. And then I was stuck at my house, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna go home. If
Just
I'm
a
gonna be stuck at my
taste.
house, I'm gonna be stuck at my house where I have a yard.
Yeah.
No, just a little taste of the city. Gets moving on. Go back home.
Yeah.
Never mind.
2 years is enough.
No, I don't think. I mean, I know it's like a certain lifestyle or whatever, but I don't think I could live for real, like a real life in the city. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
It's
fun.
a lot.
New York City is very fun, but like, I don't need to. I've done it, and now
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm too chill for that. I did like a 3-month rotation once when I was in school, and I'm like, okay, that timeline is done with. Like,
Yeah. And I think
check
it really
off that
depends.
alternate me, and I'm moving on. We're
Yep.
not doing that. Like, I'm not gonna go to the store every day because my fridge is too small to hold groceries.
Dude, yeah.
Nah.
Or your dishwasher's under your bed.
Like,
and
nah.
Your closet's also under your bed.
I can't do it.
It was like, I had to go to the grocery store and walk to the grocery store every week, and it was like, okay, you only get as many things as you can carry.
Yeah.
Right.
So sorry if you want eggs and soda, because you probably can't carry those things like 4 blocks.
No, that's a pass. It's gonna be a no for me. The only thing I miss is being able to sleep on commutes because you're on the subway. Set a timer and just.
That was great. That was great.
That was great.
I read so many books.
Definitely.
I read so many books when I was in the city. I had like a 50-minute commute, which was a decision I made because I didn't want to transfer. So I just had a longer commute if I just stayed on one train the whole time.
Yeah.
And I read like 4 books a month.
Dang.
For like a year and a half. It was great. I haven't read a book. The second I was home all day, I was like midway through a book.
What am I doing?
When lockdown hit, I was like, oh, never mind. That's it.
Wow.
That's what the shed's for.
That's what the shed's for. What? How was that?
Read the numbers on the plate.
How was the lockdown and the pandemic vibe on the reservation?
The reservation, it's interesting. We haven't had that many events. So this year, we didn't have our annual powwow. We have a big powwow every year. It's one of the last of the powwow season. Just throughout the country, all these different tribes have powwows normally just throughout the summer, and we're Labor Day weekend, so we're one of the last ones, one of the like big ones in New York State and stuff. So we didn't have powwow this year. We normally have a Thanksgiving thing we have at the community center. We didn't have that, so we didn't have a lot of that stuff. But also a lot of people on the res, they live on the res. They don't really they don't go off the res that much for things other than like shopping and things like that. You know, they might work on the res or they just might not work and stuff like that. So like this whole time there's been seeing a lot of people have like big parties the whole time. Like a lot of big you know, baby showers and birthday parties and
Oh yeah.
Christmas. Saw a lot of people at saw a lot of pictures of people at houses for Christmas and things like that. But also because we're a small community and like a lot of those people who are having all those parties and stuff, they don't go to that many things off the res anyway, you know? So it hasn't been that bad. There's been some cases, but not as many as
Yeah,
like,
because you're just doing it with each other over and over. Like you're not going
yeah.
to everybody's house all over the place having dinner and parties.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's probably like they're probably not thinking of it as in like pods, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's I think like a white people term, oh, this is my pod. I'm hanging out like only hanging out with these people, but like that's definitely kind of what's been
Okay.
going on, I
Yeah.
think, with a lot of people. It's just like yeah, I always go to my mom's house. That's what I do, you know? It's my mom. And I just go there. And you know, but also if you don't working from home or whatever, you're not going out a whole bunch of other places.
Yeah.
No.
That's
So
interesting.
it
Unless
hasn't been that
events.
bad. It hasn't been as bad as like I think like the Navajos had a really hard time with it.
Yeah, I've seen some tribes not doing that great.
Yeah. Yeah, we've
What?
had maybe like less than 10 deaths probably.
Damn. But I mean, what's the population?
I'm not really sure about the population. There's a couple hundred people on the
Mhm.
reservation. It's really hard to tell. There was so many less. There's probably I think there's about 200 households
Mhm.
on the reservation, but I'm not really sure how many people live here. Because a lot of people, you know, generational homes. I live with my parents. You know,
Right.
a lot of people are like that.
Right. That's interesting. So are your parents using the shred shed then, or are they just like, oh, Rebekah?
I got my mom to
What
work
is
out
this?
one time.
Just once.
One time, I talked her into it. I think I picked a little too hard of a workout for her,
Oh,
but
no.
she did. She did come out and she did do it. My stepdad has absolutely no interest. He's like, nah, I've worked out before, and I'm in my 70s, and I don't care.
I know what that feels
So-
like. I'm
Wow.
not going back to that.
Yeah, he's not into it whatsoever. But like anytime anybody comes over, I show them my gym, and if my mom is home at that time, she'll come in and like she always gets on the bike, like she's showing, or she like hangs from the pull-up bar. She can hang from that for like a really long time for some reason.
That's random. That's really random.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you have other family, or is just you and your parents?
It's just me and my parents. I'm an only child. So it's just the three of us and a cat. And
The
a
cat's
bunch of
not gonna take up the
outdoor
squat
cats.
rack. That's fine.
Yeah.
In a
Does the cat
full
go in the gym?
backyard.
Is the cat allowed in the gym?
No, so the gym is not attached to the house. And our cat is an indoor cat. So
he doesn't fuck
he
with
does not go
grass. Got it.
outside. But before I had the gym, I was working out in the room that I'm sitting in right now, and I would normally just shut the door when I was working out because I was listening to music, and sometimes he'd look in the door. But he's scared of everything. So, you know, I think if you move too fast and he's in the room, he gets scared. So there's no way he would ever watch anybody work out.
No.
But
Not
also when I
interested.
used to work out outside, sometimes in the back, I'd look up and he'd be watching me through the door. He'd be like, what is going on there?
Human. The hell is she doing out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
He's like,
when
why is she outside and why is she doing that?
I don't know.
But
how
no, he
people
doesn't
do
come
that.
in. And none of the, when I say we have cats, we have one indoor cat and like possibly 5 or 6 feral cats that live in our backyard who we feed.
Mhm.
They are so scared of us and like have lived here their whole lives, and we feed them every day. They hang out in our yard, but like you open the door, they run.
Yeah.
Very
That's pretty
strange.
funny. As I don't know how, like Shrav is always lifting. You just see like the cat in the corner, just
Oh
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like no flinching, nothing, just hanging out.
If they don't care about noise, they'll stay
No. And then there's some other people that have like their dogs like sitting in front of them while they're deadlifting. Like that couldn't be me. My dogs are not allowed in my garage gym. One of them is like your dog, scared of everything. She wouldn't be anywhere near me. But the other ones would be like, all right, put the bar down, pets.
Yeah.
You changing the weights? Maybe some pets. Like, that wouldn't work. I see all these videos of chill animals, and I'm like, how?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how people do it. Yeah, my cat, he would have a panic attack.
Not doing okay. Well, Mabel's not by your stuff when you were at home, was she, Marybeth?
She would actually. Because when we would train, it would be super late at night, and then she'd realize, okay, 10 p.m. I'm gonna get a bunch of playtime down there, because like she would play all over the deadlift platform while we would bench, and yeah, expect pets or jump on the bench, but would go away in the deadlift session.
No, she didn't trust that.
You get your tail stuck under there.
I don't blame her. Oh wait, but Rebekah's a CrossFitter. CrossFitters don't bench. You guys bench?
Sometimes, not often. I think a lot of gyms just don't have the equipment for it.
So did you buy the bench?
I have a bench.
Okay.
I have a bench. I've used it like twice. My first CrossFit gym, we never benched. We didn't have. The guy who owned it just like didn't buy benches.
Why not? Why would you?
he just didn't do it. I guess we just like, where would we put them? And then my second gym, which was in the city, we benched every once in a while, like once every like 2 months, maybe there'd be a bench press workout, but like very rarely.
Yeah, no, that's the setup. Is everything is like you could just like tuck the bars away, you could just tuck the weights away, but you can't tuck 50 rows of benches away. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you need that open floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Wide open floor, pull-up bars.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They just have a lot of squat racks and like a lot of cardio machines, and like boxes, a lot of plyo boxes. CrossFit gyms.
Yeah. Those are the guys that like doing the stacking thing, and then I can't even watch those. I can't watch the fails. I don't watch the good ones either, just in case it's a fail. Like I gotta keep scrolling.
I don't jump. It doesn't feel worth it. I have like a soft box, so like in case you fall, you don't destroy your shins, but like I also don't want to fall at all. So just step ups for me.
Yeah, that's my ballpark. But you don't have any heat intolerance then, because CrossFit's never air conditioned.
You know what I do? I do have a heat intolerance. But like my symptoms started. So like my MS started September of like 2019, and I was developing a heat intolerance, and I would just like end the workout when I was working at the gym and just like had to take off my shoes and socks like every time.
Wow.
But obviously I didn't know it was heat intolerance. It was just like suddenly I was just getting really hot, and then I started switching to shorts. I think that summer I started wearing shorts a lot at the gym. And like I said, I have to like take my shoes and socks off all the time at the end of a workout, and like always had my shirt halfway off.
Vibes, a lifestyle.
Because they do not air condition in those or heat them.
They do not like their air conditioned. They do not.
No, they just get big giant industrial fans.
That's why I could never do it. Honestly, truly.
And you were already training for 2 full years before you got diagnosed, right?
It was a year and a half. It was like almost exactly a year and a half. And then all my symptoms hit. I think a couple months before my initial flare up, I was starting to have some symptoms that I just kind of ignored. Didn't really know what were going on with them. But yeah, I had like a year and a half of CrossFit before I got sick.
Well, did you notice your lifts were not as quality as they were, and you were like, okay, something is finally wrong? Like when did you start paying attention to the symptoms?
So a couple months, I think that whole summer, I just had some weird symptoms. It didn't really affect my training. Like my symptoms were stuff like there was a month where I was like kept breaking out into hives all over my body at nighttime specifically. And stuff like that. Or like I have plantar fasciitis. So like, like your feet and your calves are like really sore. And that was so bad the couple months before. So like still unsure if that was just my plantars or if it was my MS.
Yeah.
But I remember this so clearly because I did a whole bunch of stupid stuff and then like my flare up happened. So my tribe's powwow was Labor Day weekend. I just drank heavily that whole entire weekend. I don't think I had any water. I was just downing White Claws for like 4 days straight. And also I lost my wallet like right before then. So I was like really, I was like stressed out about a couple of things, and I was like severely dehydrated.
Yeah.
And my CrossFit gym had just started a Ollie class like the month before. So I was 2 days a week, I was doing double classes. And so I was like very tired from that. And then I was just like really dehydrated. And like I think powwow was like Monday. So Tuesday I went to the gym and I probably had not drank any water before that for like 4 days straight. And I think I just pounded a bunch of water. And then, I remember we did a class where we were practicing gymnastics, because normally in a CrossFit class, the beginning of class, you lift. So you might, where you're just in general doing all various kind of lifts and practicing that. But that day we were doing gymnastics and we were doing like tumbling. I remember so we were like practicing tumbling and we were practicing handstands. And I had done handstands before, and that day I was like, I do not feel well. I'm not into this handstand stuff today.
I cannot be upside down today.
Yeah, it was just like something weird's here going on. I don't really like it. And then we were like tumbling, and I still like felt weird about that. And then like the next day, we were in class. I think we were probably doing push presses, and someone was like, "Wow, Rebekah, your left arm like shoots up there way faster than your right." And then the next day, my left hand it felt slow, like it just felt weird. And then I was like, "This is something weird's going on." And then I was like, maybe I'll go to the doctor. I'll see how I feel tomorrow. And then like a couple days later, it was just like my whole body kind of like shut down. The whole left side of my body just shut down. And then I didn't go back to the gym for like, I never went back to that gym, honestly. But yeah, it was weird. It was an initial flare up. I think a lot of people who have MS have symptoms that they can ignore for a really long time. So I did have stuff like that. And then just like suddenly out of nowhere, just like one day, someone was like, "Hey, your arm's moving differently than your other arm." And then like 3 days later, like lost all fine motor skills in that arm.
Yeah.
Like couldn't type.
Comes at you fast.
Yeah. It just like hit out of nowhere over the course of like one day I was fine. I want to say like on a Wednesday, I felt a little weird. And then by the time like the next Monday, I like had so many symptoms. Like it just hit out of nowhere.
And it was all at once too. You being not drunk, hungover.
No, it just takes the right amount of stress, and then the MS is like, you know what? Now, bitch. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, you do not get to drink White Claws for a whole weekend and be okay. Today is the day.
Yeah, that's what Joe said on their episode. It was like a time where they were working like mad hours, doing whatever lab job it was.
Yeah.
And then also going to school, I think. And they were like just leaving the lab, like, oh, I'll just go to the doctor real quick and then go back to work. And then Joe was like, by the time she got to the hospital, she felt like a head floating in water. What the fuck?
Oh, geez.
Like that quick, just like the I guess I'll go. That time was that 20 minutes? Like,
yeah, it hits like,
and
it's scary. Interesting because, like I said, my hand just felt weird. Like I remember I was at work and I was talking to my friends. Like I was like, in our group chat, and I was like, I don't know, man, my arm feels heavy. Like, I don't know why. And they were like, funny. What do you mean? I was like, I don't know. It just like, it feels slow. Like I'm typing and it's just awkward. And then like, but also it was strange because it was such a simple thing. It was just like, my hand felt slow. And I was instantly like, that's not right. Maybe I should go to the doctor. Like, I booked an appointment for the next week. And then by that next week, I was like, drop foot, which is where like you can't pick up the top part of your foot, like shit. And you're just, and like you can walk, but it's just like your foot drags because you just can't like get your toes all the way off the ground when you step. So like by the time I went to the doctor, I just had a lot more symptoms. And then I think I went back like 2 weeks later because, you know, like I told her I was at the gym, we were doing handstands and I
Right.
don't feel good now. And she was like, maybe it's a sports injury. I don't know, just like lay off for 2 weeks.
Yep.
She was like, you know, lay off, come back in 4 weeks. And then I like came back in 2 weeks because it had like gotten significantly worse. And it just went away. Like all those things, like they came in over the course of like 2 weeks. I was really just a mess for like a month and a half, and then it just all started to go away.
So you didn't get hospitalized in that period and nothing like that?
No, I went to the hospital one time. She wanted me to try to get a spinal tap at a hospital, and I went one day and they were like, no, we're not gonna do that for you.
They said
But I
no?
also might have gone to the wrong hospital. Like she said she called ahead of time and they were like, no one called. But like I was in the city, I was in Manhattan, I was living in Queens. There was like a billion hospitals right near me. So I think she called the
Yeah.
wrong. I think
No,
I
she
went to the
just
wrong
got,
hospital.
who knows? That's some order mess up somewhere.
So like they didn't do
Yeah.
anything for me. They were like, I don't understand why you're here.
Awkward.
Damn, that's annoying.
I mean, but in that moment though, you probably had a lot of cognitive symptoms too. You probably were like, what day is it? So
Yeah, I don't know. It
you
was
know.
at that point I was like, it was weird because honestly, by the time I got to a neurologist in general, most of my symptoms had gone away. And then by the time I got to a specialist, almost all of them had gone away. And I got diagnosed super fast. And I got diagnosed like in September. I had seen my specialist by like late October.
Mm.
And it was really fast for me, but like I'm surprised I even got diagnosed because like I said, by the time I got to a specialist, I was fine, you know, like a month and a half later.
That's wild. So no prednisone packs, like nothing, no infusions, like nothing. You just drank some water.
No, it went away. For the most part, the things went away. And then I had a flare up in December. And then I was on a lot of prednisone by that. Like then. So it was weird. Like I was fine forever. I had some symptoms that's like, okay, maybe that was MS hug. There's a symptom where you just like your chest feels really tight. And I'm still trying to figure out if I've had that forever or not. And there's just all these different symptoms that I probably had for a real long time. But it was like September, I got really sick. Then by October, it was good. And then I had another flare up again in December, which was another day like I was mad about something and then I fell on some ice. And
Ooh,
then
ouch.
like the next day, my feet were numb. And then like by then like a week later, my whole body from like chest down was numb. So like it's weird. Like it's really weird like that. It's like you have a symptom one day, you're like, oh man, hope this doesn't last. And then it just like gets worse and then it like goes away.
And then months later, boom.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
but it's been since because then I started my medication that January. So it had only been a couple months from my first flare up. By the time I started infusion, so I started infusion in January. I haven't had really any issues since then. I have some leftover symptoms like my heat intolerance.
Right. You're not normal, quote unquote.
Yeah. Like my arm and leg hurt all the time, but it's like not that bad. And it's kind of like I forget a lot that like that there's even that pain, but it's just like it's very small. I think probably the tingling because like my second flare up was tingling and numbness. And the like, you know, like when your foot falls asleep, you know, that sort of tingling, but that was 24 hours for a couple months.
Oh
And it
my
was like
God.
knees down. And for the most part, it went away, but like, you know, there's still like a kind of almost you can feel a little bit of tingling every once in a while, but like just stuff like that. But for the most part, a lot of my symptoms just went away. It's just like a lot of like brain fog sometimes, fatigue sometimes. Heat intolerance at night is like pretty bad. I keep it as cold as humanly possible in my room at nighttime.
Yeah.
Because like just can't handle it otherwise. But like for the most
that
part,
one-sided. You still have one side that's off because you said it was your left.
yeah,
hand.
my left side. It was when my initial flare up, and it happens a lot with people with MS. Is just one side of your body is affected. So like during that first flare up, my whole left arm and my whole left leg were just like shot, and now they're good. But like it doesn't hurt really bad. It's kind of like I'm always kind of aware that I have a left arm and a left leg. Like, like when things are good for you, you don't
pay attention.
Yeah, you don't pay attention. Your
like,
arm is there, but like you don't
Molly's
feel it all the
acting
time.
up again.
Yeah.
Come on, Molly, get your shit together.
Yeah.
And so how
it's
do you
just kind
train
of
through
like
that?
you feel something. Hold on 1 second. Someone is at my door. Give me
That's
a
fine. You know what? Commercial break, bitches.
I know. Perfect timing.
Oh, my mom's answering the door.
Perfect timing. However, this will be on the YouTube because I'm not editing the video for YouTube. That's too much work. You guys will be fine.
They get a special gift.
Yeah.
It's a treat. Yeah. But yeah, how do you train through that? Because I would think that your joint sense is kind of messed up, like when you're throwing something over your head, do you know where your hand is?
Especially over the head.
Yeah. So when I first started training again because I was like, I think there was probably 6 months. There were 6 months when I was out of CrossFit, and then I tried to go back to CrossFit, and then the next week New York City lockdown. So I got 2 days in, and then had to stop. But then I spent a lot of time working with dumbbells, and that helped a lot because I had a really bad strength intolerance or strength disbalance for a really long time. Like my left arm was just so much weaker than my right arm. But then I don't know, I just spent a lot of time with dumbbells because I didn't have space. I didn't have space for a barbell for a while, or like if it was raining or something and I had to be inside, because there was just months when I was just working out in the driveway. But for sure, I think the dumbbells definitely did help a lot with just getting my strength kind of back and working that all out. But yeah, that was a big one.
That's amazing.
And you use the same weight for both dumbbells, right? Because I know I started off with like a lower weight on my left side because it's just not as strong as my right, because I also had muscle imbalances, but I trained through just forcing myself to use the same weight.
No, yeah, I use the same weight. I use the same weight, and I only had for a long time a 15 and a 25, and honestly the 25 was like too heavy for a lot of stuff. But I think it probably did help, like having to use that 25, because it was either like go real light or go real
you got
low.
no in between.
Yeah. Like I very recently got a 20-pound dumbbell, and it's like, oh, this is like the perfect weight.
Like Goldilocks.
They made these.
Yeah, it was like, oh, this is the one. This is the weight. I should have had this from the beginning. But no, for sure, definitely like working on it with that overhead, and like, my workouts weren't great because I couldn't do a lot of stuff, but it definitely did help with getting a lot of that back. But it's also weird because like my left arm's like way more flexible than my right arm. Like even before, like it just I had a way bigger range of motion with it, and then that's the arm that's affected.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Yeah, well, I'm funky on the in some ways like that also, and I feel like that ties in together. Like flexible because your joints aren't as strong. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my left leg is my wonky leg. I'm sorry you had to hear that. So
We still
like
love you.
if I'm doing, like those 90-90 hip things, like my left leg will go forever.
Yeah.
But if I have to lift my leg up like in that same position, I can't do it with that one.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like it's loose and not strong.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So that, yes. But I think like dumbbell stuff helped a lot. And then just in general, the dumbbell, because it had to work by itself, you couldn't
compensate.
Yeah, you couldn't compensate. And so for a while I was just working on dumbbell stuff. Like, yeah, if there was something with deadlifts, if my programming had something with deadlifts or certain things I wanted to use the barbell with, for sure. But I definitely did focus a lot on just like using the dumbbells because my left arm had to do all the work by itself.
But okay, honest question. You did that because you were kind of forced to. Do you think if you still had access to the regular old CrossFit gym, like would your ego get in the way? Would you just push through and try to do barbell everything?
I don't know. Barbell, I don't know. Being in a CrossFit gym is really interesting because the thing with CrossFit is it's scalable, right? So the whole thing is that everybody can do it. You know, if you can't do a pull up, then you can do something else. But I think once I felt like I was an experienced CrossFitter, I started just like scaling more, because when you start doing CrossFit and they're like, oh, you got to do this thing. And it's like, you got to do this thing. You got to do this amount of reps. You just try really hard. And then you just fail a bunch of workouts because like you can't do lunges well.
That's the image I have. Yes.
Yeah.
Continue.
So then it reached a point where I was pretty good at it. And then I was like, I'm just going to scale whatever I want. Like, I'm not doing all these burpees. And I would and sometimes like we'd start a workout and I'd be like, yo, I hate burpees. I'm gonna do really bad. And then I'd like do pretty well. And someone was like, I thought you weren't good at them. And I was like, oh no, because I did half the number that they told us to do. I don't. They're like, what? And I was like, yeah, I wanted to finish the workout. So I just cut it back. And so I had started doing that before. I think though, if I was in a gym, like I miss the gym environment. I kind of miss being around and seeing like being with other people while they're doing it too.
Right.
But I do take a lot more kind of like breaks now, and I might use lighter weights and stuff like that. And so while I miss CrossFit, I'm not totally sure how I would do in a class setting at this point, just because I've been working out from home and I can pause the timer, I can take longer breaks, and without that pressure of other people in the room watching you.
Yeah, no, when you're in a community, it's a different, like when everybody's like, yeah, go ahead, lift it. Oh, just try it. Like I've definitely pushed myself too much when it comes to strongman more than anything. The powerlifting, I would just keep sucking and I didn't understand and I didn't slow down. I just kept trying and sucking anyway. But the strongman's a little different because it's that same CrossFit vibe. Like, nah, just push through it. Just try it again. Like you still got time on the clock.
Yeah.
Instead of like, all right, slow down. Why can't you do it? What else could you do instead? Like that doesn't exist.
Yeah. No, CrossFit, there's a lot of pressure. Like it's great and it's terrible at the same time, where the people who are really fit, they finish those workouts. If it's for time, they finish them super fast. But then because it's this whole big community thing, they cheer you on. So there was a very specific person. She would finish her workouts and then focus on me and stand in front of me and cheer for me.
Help her.
And then, and it was like miserable. And it was like, part of it was like, yeah, this is great. I have my own cheerleader. But then when like you're the only person.
You gotta finish it.
But then when like you're once you're the only person still working and there's still a lot for you to do, you just are like, well, oh, I did it. I'm done. Yeah. you just lie at the end of workouts because you're like, I don't want everybody watching me and cheering me on. Like I'm not into that.
Yeah,
but
that's
what about like flare-ups? Like, did they ever happen a lot more so in the gym environment because of having to push through it, or?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really have that many problems when I was at the gym in general, just because my symptoms hadn't really started that much, and also just, 2 years, not even 2 years ago, because it would have been, this is like going up on 2 years of MS. So like, 3 years ago when I was at the gym, if I just like didn't feel well, it was just like, oh, I just don't feel well. I was just real tired, but also, like I said, I had gotten to that point where I just started lying in workouts, and it wasn't because I was tired or anything. It was just because like, I realized I wanted to finish the workout and I started scaling. And so like, I'm doing this at home program now. It's not necessarily CrossFit. It's just because CrossFit's like a brand,
Right.
But it is still very similar to that. And like, it's way easier for me to just scale stuff and pause stuff and figure things out and do whatever I want, because also they write in a bunch of subs, and they just tell you like, okay, this is the goal time and we want you to do the goal time. So if you're noticing you're not going to hit it, cut the reps in half, do something else. Like, and it's written into the program. Where like, if you're at a CrossFit gym, depending on who your coach is, they might just be like, no, you got to do all those lunges,
even if they're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's a good point. It's the community. It's who's providing the support and directing the community, right?
Yeah.
I had toxic fit bro.
My first gym had a guest coach one time, and I don't remember what the workout was, but I remember there was a whole bunch of lunges and running. And I was struggling with the lunges. Like everybody else was on like their third round, and I was like still in my first round. And I asked her like, can I just stop and go do the run? And she was like, no.
Wow.
So I think I never
Wow.
even got to the run. I think it's just at lunges for like
That's why some people
10
do not need to
minutes.
be in positions of power.
Yeah.
Those are the people.
But you know, like if you have like a good coach, they're like, yes, just like cut it in half and then like don't do the full distance of the run. Like we just want you to finish.
Mhm.
So it
And
definitely
finish
comes
with
down
the
to like
team.
who your coach is, the environment and stuff like that. So like whoever that guest coach was, she would be a horrible coach for me now. But you know, I've had
Yeah.
other coaches who are like understanding that like not everybody's a
Yikes.
top tier athlete.
Yeah, and I know some CrossFits have like a setup. Like if you're new, you have to take these beginner classes. But I noticed not all of them do. Some of them don't give a shit. Like, okay, here you pay, here you go, do whatever you want. Like, and that's
Yeah,
it.
no. I never took a fundamentals class. I just showed up one day and they were like, all right,
Here's a barbell.
yeah, here's do some deadlifts. But like my first CrossFit class, I just showed up and I was like very unprepared. And halfway through the workout, the coach was like, "You can stop if you want. Like, once you finish this round, you could just like quit if you want." And I did. And then I just sat down and like watched everybody else work out. But then at the end of the class, all the other people were like, oh, like all these really fit people who finished the workout came up to me and they were like, you got halfway through and you didn't throw up. My first CrossFit class, I went and threw up afterwards, you know, and like and so that's like a very cool thing about CrossFit is that that's the thing I like about it is that everybody is trying the same amount. So even like some super fit person, they're trying just as hard as you and they're doing way better, but you're like, you know, working the same.
Right. Wow. That's pretty neat. I think that's kind of what most people miss about going to gyms is that vibe.
Yeah.
Some people can't really get into their lifting or the environment or the mindset without it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but the first day for any class, I mean, who the hell does come prepared, right? You're expecting to learn
even know what
something
it
new
is.
that first day, get coached
Yeah.
through it, but you got through half of it. That's shit. I don't think I'd get through 5 minutes of a new CrossFit class.
No.
That's
You know,
just
it's
not me.
rough. It is rough, but like you kind of just learn to scale and work it for you, you know, and also like CrossFit workouts are only like maximum maybe 20 minutes long. So, you know,
Oh
they're
wow.
short.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
they're very tough.
Yeah, high
It's
resistance
intense.
training.
Yeah. They're just hit classes, honestly.
Functional fitness.
Yeah, functional.
But 20 minutes nonstop for a
Yeah.
powerlifter.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I got one rep and I
20
rest
minutes
for
is
20
like
minutes.
yeah, 20 minutes is like 3 sets of something maybe.
Yeah.
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 Maybe like a little bit of 5 minutes in between each set.
Yeah, no, you don't really get that many breaks. And then like you'll do workouts where you have like a break, like a minute break, and it feels like it's 2 seconds. It's rough. It's a lot of endurance stuff. Like even the heavy, even the ones where you're like doing barbell stuff, it's still mostly just endurance.
Yeah. And so far you haven't had to deal with too many toxic, terrible gyms, it sounds like, except for that guest coach. So that's nice.
Just my guest coach. She was pretty bad, but I've only gone to 2 gyms. I dropped into a local gym here to do a WheelWOD competition. Needed a squat rack and a rower, and they just like let me come in. It was fine. But no, like my 2 gyms, the two CrossFit gyms I've been at were pretty good.
That's neat. The other vibe that I had at CrossFit gyms is there was a couple of times that I would powerlift in the back of CrossFit gyms. That was like a thing for a little bit. But every environment was like the hardcore, you got to be paleo and like the whole, like the CrossFit booklet, like the whole community, like the whole culture.
Yeah.
Like they weren't just chill, like, hey, you want to try a class? Or like, yo, lectins, bro, you gotta go paleo, bro. Like they were like, oh.
Yeah,
that turned me
my
off.
second gym had like a partnership with like a meal prep company that like we had a fridge that you could just like order food and they'd like literally just bring it to the gym and you could just take it home. And it was like there was 2 of them we worked with and like one was a paleo one, you know. I don't know, the CrossFit, there's like there's gear that people use,
there's like the brands, what's the energy drink?
There's
like a specific brand that every fucking CrossFit, I can't remember it right now.
Sometimes it's like Bang, sometimes it's like C4.
There was some whole line of drinks that are always at everything. So you got to drink that drink. You got to be paleo. You got to eat RX bars.
RX bars. There's always so many of them.
Damn, I guess. I don't know if I could commit to this. I didn't even try a class, guys.
Yeah, there's 3 kinds of shoes you should be wearing. If you're not wearing Metcons, Nobles, or Nanos, like, what are you doing?
Well, you had me at nutrition plan, and like, I'm gonna eat what I want to eat. I'm here, right?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like, I never really bought into a lot of that stuff, but it was funny because in the CrossFit community, like when you're not a professional CrossFitter, there's a whole genre, like a genre of CrossFitters called heavy lifters, and they're basically just like fat people who came to CrossFit and like have lost weight, but like aren't really doing the whole diet stuff. So we never got smaller, but like, because you're fat, you can deadlift a lot, you know?
Mm-hmm. You don't
so like,
I
was a heavy lifter. Like my squat, I reached 200 pounds within a year and a half of squats, but like, I never even remotely got close to a pull-up. Never even.
That sounds like that would have been.
Come on over to our side. Yeah.
You can come hang out. Just do strongman. It's cardio, heavyweights.
Yeah, no, that's the thing about CrossFit. It has all those different things. So like, we did do strongman stuff. Sometimes we do like heavy sled pulls. Like every once in a while, there might be a workout where we had sandbags and we were picking them up and carrying them and that sort of stuff. And I always love that sort of stuff. Like, we only did it maybe once a month, but like, those like 5 times I did strongman stuff, I was like, this is fucking awesome.
And was everyone required to do it shirtless?
No shirts allowed.
You are not, but it's highly recommended. And I was always shirtless.
Oh man.
Well, with the heat intolerance.
Yeah, no, I always had my shirt like half off all the time, and then like, now that I'm home and I work out, like my shirt comes off so fast.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you.
That's great for your parents. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah, no, and it's funny because my shed is in the front lawn. Like, in the rest of the world, you couldn't put a shed in the front lawn, but like in my house, the shed is in the front, and then like I have the doors open, and I'm just like hot, and like then my shirt's off, and then I'll come back in the house, and my mom's like, "Why were you outside with no shirt on?" It was like, I love it. Really hot.
Yeah.
Oh man, you gotta get a wall unit in there.
Yeah,
you gotta get the little portable one.
I have a like really intense Vornado, but it's still
not popping. Hot. That's hilarious. The CrossFit vibes really sound pretty similar to everything. I mean, every strength whatever has like the deep cult culture. So
yeah,
it's not if you're powerlifting, then you have to buy grip shirts. Gotta wear chalk. Gotta use smelling salt. Like everybody's got this shit. It's fucking dumb.
Wearing your powerlifting belt and your big old headphones around the gym.
Oh yeah,
not listening to anything.
It has to be these. It can't be in ears. If you're a powerlifter, you gotta have over ear headphones, bare minimum.
Yeah.
If you're strongman, it's gotta be like metal music. If you don't have delts, you're out. I'm sorry. your shoulder, like your shirt, if you have a shirt with sleeve, it's got to be like pinned, like right there, like tape.
Oh yeah,
that's the uniform right there.
Well, that makes sense because you're throwing stuff overhead too.
Yeah, you want to be free and whatever, but also like, you don't want to get a scratch right here, so just a little coverage, just a little bit. That's the strongman uniform. That's hilarious. But I always forget that the CrossFit thing is really based on whoever's coaching. Like, they make up the programming.
Always.
Like, there's no head of CrossFit programming. I always forget that.
Yeah. CrossFit.com every day has a workout on it. And there are, I think, some gyms that do that. They just follow whatever is on CrossFit.com. But like, when I was trying to find my programming that I do right now, I'm just looking up online CrossFit programming. I found a whole bunch of companies that like we make programming and they just like sell it to other gyms. Like, there's some gyms where they don't write their own programming at all. They just like work with some other company that gives them.
That makes sense.
Weekly Metcons and
why not?
All of that.
And the CrossFits are still CrossFits over there. They haven't what's the word? De-affiliated, unaffiliated. Yeah.
The gym by me is still a CrossFit gym. My old gym, they did de-affiliate. But like nothing changes with the programming. It's just that like because
no
like he was
no
always like the owner was always writing the programming anyway. And they just kind of like used the CrossFit name, and participated in the open and like trained for Murph. And like they're probably still doing Murph even though they're not CrossFit anymore.
Yeah. Doesn't actually change anything.
And they can just call it funny. Like a cross training gym, right? That's pretty similar.
Functional fitness. Like my gym was called CrossFit Unleashed, and now it's just Unleashed NYC. Like,
wow, what a rebrand.
Over here, those are pet shops in California. We got Unleashed pet shops.
Yeah, but no. So like, it comes down to whoever's doing it and how like into the CrossFit culture you are. But like my programming that I do right now, it's not CrossFit, but the owners, the people who came up with it, the owners of the company, they're ex CrossFit Games athletes. Like they were CrossFitters, and then they were just like, well, we're gonna have this thing, but we're just not gonna call it CrossFit. But it's the same exact workouts. Like, and the owners, they didn't compete this year, but like the male owner, he didn't compete, so he didn't sign up for the open, but like he did all the workouts and like was posting them, like I'm doing 21.2 or whatever, and like doing exceptional at it.
Can you can you just real quick, we're coming up on an hour here, but just real quick, can you explain what the fuck is the open, please? Because I see it every year and I'm like,
and the Murph. Some people don't know
what the fuck is what is that? What's happening?
So there's a couple things. So Murph is okay, so one, CrossFit has a bunch of hero WODs. So they do there's all these workouts that are for various servicemen who died. So Murph is Memorial Day weekend. That's when everybody does it. And it's for this, some guy who's in the army named Murphy. And it's hard. I think it's like a mile run and then like it's a like crazy high number.
Push-ups, like, pull-ups, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's push-up, pull-ups, and sit-ups, I think, but it's like 200. So it's like you do like 200 sit-ups and then like 100 push-ups and like, it's squats. So it's push-ups, pull-ups, and squats, and it's like this crazy high number from all of them. It's like 300, 200, 100. Like you have to do 300 squats. So you do that and then you run a mile again. So you run a mile, do an insane amount of squats, push-ups, and pull-ups, and then you run a mile again.
That's gonna be enough,
and it's a very hard workout, and I've never done it. But you can scale it however you want. So like if you don't want to run a mile, you could do a half a mile. If you don't run, you can row.
Bike or something.
You can cut the reps of other stuff in half. So that's Murph. So it's just a thing that everybody does every year. The Open is the first qualifier for the CrossFit Games. So the CrossFit Games is the big competition every year. That's the big worldwide competition, the fittest on earth. And they do insane stuff in the games. But the Open is the first qualifier for it. And everybody does it and everybody can do it. So like you're doing the same workout as someone who's won 7 CrossFit Games, and it's a leaderboard. So you sign up, it's like $20 and you sign up. If you do it in class, if you do it at a gym, or if like you really are trying and like actually for real competing, you have to have a scorecard. You need someone to stand there and count your reps for you. Like it's big. But everybody does it. Like every gym does it. Even if you don't sign up for it, it's still one of the workouts every week. So like even if you don't pay the $20 to be on the leaderboard and like really see where you are based off where like your region, you're still gonna end up doing the workouts. Right. And it's normally like 4 or 5 workouts, and it's once a week. So like just once a week you just have this really hard workout.
And I think at the end of that, is there a certain number you need to make it to the games or something?
Well, there's a leaderboard, so you have to put in your scores, and it just pulls However, but it's like the first qualifier. So it's like, the top 10% of everybody's division then goes on
okay.
to the quarterfinals and the nationals and
Division
blah,
is
blah, blah,
by
blah.
what age? Division is by what?
So there's a couple different divisions. I think the main one is like, 18 to like 35. That's the main division. But then
Like
there's
the
other
open.
divisions. So there's like a teen division. There's masters division. So if you're older, like if you're 50, you're not competing against you're not competing against 30-year-olds.
But not weight. It's not by weight.
No, it's not by weight. It's not by weight. So, and then there's just all these things. And so this year, probably because of COVID and people couldn't really work out in gyms, they added a whole bunch of different divisions. So like, I think previously it was just RX and scaled. So it's like, you do this is how it's written. And even the scaled version, there's not that much difference. It's like, instead of box jumps, you're doing box step ups. Instead of a 35-pound dumbbell, you're doing a 20-pound dumbbell. But this year there was like a division for if you were a beginner. So for example, one of the workouts was wall walks, and I think beginners did bear crawls. And so, and then they added in a bunch of different divisions. So they added in this year a whole bunch of adaptive divisions. So like I competed in the neuro division. And I like, for that, instead of wall walks, I think I did inchworms.
Okay.
But depending on wherever you are, you're just scaled. So like, also I'm in the neurological division. I'm 32. I was competing against the person number one. I found her on Instagram. She's like 24 and was a college level. She's in South Africa, so they don't have Division 1, but it was like a basically Division 1 handball player,
right?
Who then had some problems and had a couple surgeries and some other stuff, and she just has stuff going on with her now. But like that was the number one person in my division, like this 24-year-old professional handball player.
Wow. And this year it was all online, right? So I mean, it kind of already set it up for itself because.
Well, in general, it's always, you put in your score. You do it wherever you're doing it. So you can do it from home. You can do it at a gym. If you're at a gym, you have a scorecard and you have to have someone judging you. If you were doing it from home, you needed to videotape it.
Okay.
So I have a YouTube channel, and like there's 7 videos and like 5 of them are just CrossFit competitions, because you needed to post them.
Yeah.
And then submit it just so they could like double check your scores. But like, they probably don't double check unless you're in the top 10.
Yeah.
Like, what do they need to look at my scores for? Okay, I'm not doing that well.
But that's how it is. There's a couple of there's just one big strongman event where the qualifier is online and you have to video the lift, and it has to be one long video, the lift, and then you unload the plates and show the plates to the camera, like all of that. And that's how they're always set up. So I wonder if they got that idea from CrossFit, because I don't know how long that's been running.
Yeah, I think especially because I think the big CrossFitters, you can look up Matt Frazier. He's won like 5 games. He's really good. He probably doesn't work out at a gym.
No.
So why would the number one CrossFitter be going to a regular CrossFit gym? So, people like that, I think we're always submitting it different than how everybody else is, because I'm not going to a gym if I'm the number one CrossFitter.
Peasants.
Yeah.
Beneath
so they were always filming, I think, and then they just that's just how they did it. But yeah, they opened it up a lot. This year there was just so many more divisions. I think, like I said, awesome. Like other times there was just 2 or 3 divisions. This time there's like 20 divisions.
Yeah, but that's what I do like about CrossFit though, is that it's just always been accessible.
Yeah,
the fact that they just like boom, there's an adaptive division, there's a subdivision for neuro, and I'm sure for paraplegics as well, and remotely it just ended up working out so well for everyone else that didn't train at a gym for the past year. Whereas it was powerlifting, we got gyms. I mean, we have competitions inside gyms currently still going on. And there was what, a half a year pause on competitions. That's it.
Did any powerlifting events have online qualifiers?
Not ever.
I don't think so, because I saw that happen for Olympic weightlifting, and I mean
Yeah,
like the
that
big
definitely happened
ones
for
too.
yeah.
And it definitely already happened for some strongman stuff. For the official strongman games, they were always online, but I did see some other ones do online qualifiers for nationals. But I feel like I didn't see that for powerlifting at all.
No, but I could see it being possible because there are ways where you submit like video footage
No,
at
it's not
a hit
hard.
level, you just have to record it a certain way.
No, it's not hard. It's just extra work. They don't want to have to work more for the same membership fee.
Yeah, not through official federations, but I knew that there were some online meets that had happened through like I think TSA did one. There's some
I did
small
see some.
groups that did online meets for powerlifting. Like it's doable. It's just a shit show.
Yeah. No, this one, it was interesting. There was a whole division for the open if you didn't have equipment. And
Wow.
so a lot of the workouts, like I would always look at all the divisions and see what each division was doing.
Right.
And like I said, like I think there was the beginner, and if you don't have equipment, like they did, it was bear crawls, and stuff like that. So like this, and most people I think were like, yeah, that's cool. There's a whole lot of things, because if you're not going to a gym, if you don't feel comfortable going to a gym, you can still compete. And then so CrossFit is very inclusive, and it's always been really inclusive, but then you have like those really big deal CrossFitters who like don't like that shit.
Yeah.
Like it's their sport.
I could see that. I could see that.
I'm offended.
If you can't do it,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be here. Like I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah, the guy who made CrossFit, I mean, he's a garbage man, and they like he got removed from the company and stuff like that. But his thing was always that it was for everyone. And so if you go online and you look up like CrossFit, how to do a snatch, right? There's all these videos that they have. And then for a hot second, he made them remove all of them and made new videos with like old people.
Oh.
And it was like, instead of like the normal burpee video, it was like an old man doing a scaled version of a burpee, and like instead of deadlifts, instead of them using a barbell, it was like an old man lifting up like antifreeze bottles.
Yeah.
And like the proper form for that. And I remember when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like they're just showing that everybody can do it and how it's functional. And then all the comments would be these like really mad, serious CrossFitters in the comments upset.
That is so
Lord.
funny to me.
They don't want grandpa to get his. Let grandpa get his gains. Damn.
I know.
Like, this isn't CrossFit. And it's like, no, that is literally exactly
It's
what Glassman
doable.
wanted CrossFit to be.
They're so
I wonder if
also,
WheelWOD had anything to do with that. They probably
yeah, and then also it was like he made it for
Probably.
like people in the military who like don't have dumbbells. So like, yeah, dude, like when you're
Yeah.
out in the field, you don't have a barbell.
You got
And you
fucking cement
forget.
in a bucket, like
You forget that a lot of veterans are disabled. Like,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And so like CrossFit's great for that. And then like it is welcoming for people. Like, when I went back to the gym after being out, and I like only went to 2 days before we locked down, but I was
Right.
like, oh, by the way, I have MS now and I might not be able to like go as hard. And they were like, all right, whatever, just like do whatever you want. Like if you want to have an empty barbell, go for it. Like,
That's great.
they don't
wow. No, it's good to hear that there's nice places. I personally have never seen them. I'm glad they exist. It's good.
Yeah, there's some nice ones, there's some horrible ones. But no, like CrossFit, I think most people also, like, I don't know, if you just like look at, like, if you really look at CrossFitters and like who's posting, like there's a lot of fit people like on Instagram, but like there's also like a lot of fat people who do CrossFit, like, because it's just for everyone. There's like a lot of 50-year-old
Yeah.
moms.
It's definitely not what you picture when you hear CrossFit. I picture
Yeah.
like blocky white lady with abs, like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? The no curves lady, like tight sports bra and Fleo shorts. Like,
Yeah.
that's the image.
Yeah, that's the image, because those are the obviously those are the professional CrossFitters, and the people who are really good at it. But like most people who just like go to a gym are just like regular people. I don't know. My first gym, I used to work out with this lady. She was definitely like a mom, like a middle-aged mom, and she probably never ever tried to lift heavy ever. Like
Yeah,
she
no.
was just like, I don't even care about that. I'm never gonna lift more than this 10-pound dumbbell. Like she was
Yeah.
not trying to like gain any muscle whatsoever. She was like, this is an exercise class. I'm gonna use a training barbell and I'm not gonna put any weights on it. And like that's how she treated CrossFit. It's like, yeah, you could just do that. Like,
All
That's
right.
great. Yeah. Well, you got to find the right coaches, though. Like some
Yeah.
people
Find the
don't
right-
know what a good
Yeah.
coach is because if it's their first time working out, they're like, "Oh, it's got to be this intense,"
Yeah.
and then they get scared, and then they never show up to a CrossFit class or training class again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's important.
Yeah. That's definitely for sure. And then also with CrossFit, a lot of times you're using like a lower weight than what like you might do if you were at a gym. So like when I try to talk people into it, I'm, and some guy who's never really worked out and he was like, well, I can lift this 75-pound dumbbell. And it's like, no, use a 15.
Yeah, you
And
can't
like,
do
why?
that
And it's like, because
100
you're going to
times.
do it a lot. Like,
Right.
like, sure, I can squat 200 pounds, but like I'm normally doing 55 pounds for like a Metcon because I have to do it a billion times.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a different way of thinking. It does not
Yeah.
compute.
It's a,
But I like the scalable.
yeah.
I have not heard that before, but that's like the most inclusive way.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like my training program right now, they program a lot of toes to bars, which, if you don't have grip strength, you can't do. If you don't have that skill, you just can't do it. Or if you just don't have like a pull-up bar, you can't do
Yeah.
anything. So it's like, okay, if you can't do toes to bar, you can do knee ups, or you can do sit-ups, or if you can't even do a sit-up, then you could do a dead bug. Like that's the good thing about CrossFit is that like you can there's a lot of things to do that you can change. If you can't run the distance, then you can run a shorter distance. If you don't like running, then you can row.
Yeah.
That's neat. I'm into it, except for I like my air conditioned. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
no. Yeah, that's definitely
That's
the worst
the
part.
main
That's
issue
why you work
for
out at home, because you
me.
can put an air conditioner in your shed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not gonna work.
I like my slow workouts.
No, I don't,
Yeah.
because I don't mind working out like that, like on a timer, and just because sometimes that works out better for me. That's what I'm doing these days.
Mhm.
That's closer to strongman
do
than
AMRAPs?
powerlifting. No, not AMRAPs, but like as far as timing, the timing goes, it's a lot less. Because these days I'm feeling way too brain foggy to be like, I'm gonna go heavy, 80%, 3 sets of 4. Like by the time I do
yeah.
my second set, I'm gonna be like, what set am I on? Oh shit, 7 minutes passed. Like I get lost in between. Like it's been working out personally for me to just be like, oh, done,
Yeah.
so I don't get lost. We
Yeah.
getting lost. Like I bought a little timer and everything.
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I
That's
think
definitely the good part about CrossFit. Also, there's only ever like maximum 3 moves in a workout.
yeah.
So like, you do two a lot of times it's just 2 moves. You just go back and forth between like 2 things for 15 minutes.
Call it a day.
All you have to do is like be good at counting.
Yeah.
Like keeping track.
Wait,
Like,
hold on. So if your workouts are typically 20, no more than 30 minutes long, you're in the gym for no more than 45 an hour?
yeah, so like if you go to a CrossFit gym, you're in there, the class is an hour long, and you like lift in the beginning. Like a lot of times you might be on like a program, like gyms will program, okay, we're gonna really be focusing on squats and we're just doing squats and accessory stuff like that. And then so whatever you're doing, you lift for a little bit, and that's maybe like 10-15 minutes maybe you might lift. And then that's normally a partner thing. So that's one thing about CrossFit is they normally will pair you with someone for that stuff. And then you like put everything away, and then you take out some different equipment, and then you have like a 15. There's certain workouts that are like 7 minutes long, like some of the benchmark ones. There's all these workouts that are named after, like, have girl names like Karen and stuff, like I don't know why, but like there's a lot of those. So like a lot of those benchmark workouts, some of them are pretty short. Like there's like some 7-minute one that's like really rough that like a gym might program once a year. And people use that as like retesting. But yeah, like maximum, like I have my phone out kind of like looking at my workouts, and like the one I have due tomorrow is like 21 minutes. And like that's long for like
It's a long one.
for CrossFit.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's interesting.
Makes
I like
sense.
the benchmark idea because you're not really trying to PR in terms of weight. It's more like quality and like reps and time.
Yeah.
So you look at
Yeah.
the workout and be like, oh, I did this in how many minutes, or I did this many reps last year, or that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. So like my program right now, they have this thing called the Vault. So it's like 25 weeks. And it's just, it's just every Monday there's a workout and you just do it. And then they're going to repeat it at the end of the year. So like it's 25 weeks of these workouts, these various things. And then we're just going to restart after 25. So then like I have a piece of paper near me. I have a piece of paper. It's like you put like what you did over here and then like your time, and then when you do it again later on in the year, okay, well how did you do later on in the year?
Oh, that's cool.
And like this is like weights and mods, so like a lot of this is just like, oh yeah, I did this other thing instead of that. So then months later when I do it again, I can see if like I did any better at it.
No, that's great because then it's not just the CrossFit culture like, oh, did I lose weight and get abs? Like,
Yeah.
you have something else.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's like see how you improved and stuff. Like how did 25 weeks of training affect me when I go back to do that first number one workout that we did in the beginning of the year?
That's neat.
So that stuff's that's the fun CrossFit type stuff.
I'm into it. I'm okay with that as described within those parameters.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe.
Then you like go to a gym and everybody's super fit and they're all like doing muscle ups and it's like, I can't.
No, I don't even fuck with those. These spaghetti joints, you crazy. No, these shoulders would be out.
That's all I pictured before today.
No,
yeah, the
So
kips and the toes and the whatevers and the handstand push-ups and
everything shirtless.
Shirtless, yes. Fleo
the shirtless
shorts.
part is true. That
the air's not conditioned. I mean,
that is the truth.
They hot.
Yeah, but you get hot, so it's like I get to take off all of my clothes. That's why most of the girls wear booty shorts. You're just hot. You just done a lot in 20 minutes. But no, yeah, I don't know. CrossFit's interesting. It's powerlifting, it's Ollie, it's gymnastics, it's general fitness stuff.
Yeah, and it seems to be like a bit of a gateway drug too, because I definitely know a lot of people that are like, oh, I did CrossFit and I decided I actually really like the days that were heavy snatches.
Yeah.
And now I'm an Olympic weightlifter. Like,
yeah.
Or I really like you said, I really like the sled and the sandbag days. And now I'm like #1 at national strongman. Like,
yeah,
I definitely know people that started, and they started with the aesthetic thing in mind because CrossFit is a diet and a thing. You get abs in like a couple of months. Great.
Yeah. CrossFit, I like to say that like I'm a CrossFitter, so I do like everything, none of it particularly well, but like you do everything.
No, it's pretty neat. Just find a good gym or program or set of people and you'll be all right. That's what applies to everything.
It's definitely a thing that was like everybody could do this. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but like everybody can do this CrossFit stuff.
Neat. Well, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to just get off your chest for the listeners?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, you're always welcome back to the show at any time. It's never too much. Chat about whatever.
Yeah.
More about you or more about anything else you have in mind. Or maybe, next time some games roll around, we could talk about that. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know when they happen. So I just know when it floods the feed.
Yeah.
That it's open season again.
Yeah.
That's fun. It's funny because like I said, everybody does the open and then like the games come around, which is the big like the end of it, and everybody's like, I could not. What are they doing this year? They made them like run like 3 miles through a trail. They're just like running downhill. There's some videos. Some of the personal CrossFitters like fell towards the end, going down a hill.
That's gonna be a no for me.
And
That's
you
not happening.
you guys should watch games clips, because that's the craziest thing.
Those
Like
are
the games, what
overkill.
they do in the games, like they'll make them do like, okay, do a handstand walk for 20 meters. All right. And now got to do a heavy snatch, and then do the handstand walk again and do a heavier snatch.
Mm-mm.
And it's like, they don't do that in class. Like, normal people don't do those things. But then like the games, they just make them do like insane, absolutely insane stuff.
Those
But
people
the
must
open,
be doing
everyone does
like
that.
totally different workouts then, because there's
Yeah,
no
that's something
way
you gotta prep for all
they
year.
must have a whole separate programming.
Yeah, no, the professional CrossFitters. So like I said, a normal CrossFit class is an hour, or you could just be doing Metcons, which is 20 minutes. Like you're in and out of the gym in 45 minutes. Matt Frazier, he just retired. He's the big, this guy was the guy who kind of made CrossFit. He just started his own programming, and I've looked at it like a sample day. That shit looks like a 2-hour training session. Like,
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
we're gonna do 15 different things, and like normal people don't do that. Normal people are like, I can give this an hour of my day, maybe.
Yeah, no thanks. Thanks though. Appreciate you, but no thanks.
Yeah, it's like hard pass there. That looks fun if I didn't have a job, I guess.
Yeah, that's another thing. You
Mm-mm.
do nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's about it then.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next
That was great. I
time.
learned so much, Bex. Thank you.
You're
Yes.
welcome. I love CrossFit. It's great. CrossFit culture, like the owning of CrossFit, the people who own CrossFit, kind of a mess. There's been a lot of messy things with CrossFit, but like the exercise itself, cool shit.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
could get behind that. That's the same thing with what we love to do anyway. The people in charge are all mostly trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's under.
And I mean, my favorite is WheelWOD.
Oh yeah.
That's it, like point blank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one else has that.
Yeah.
No. WheelWOD is great. And I think WheelWOD worked at the same time as the Open and stuff, but it just wasn't really part of it. But this year,
No, they're finally coming
one,
together,
WheelWOD
right?
opened up a lot of more divisions. It was like upper, lower, wheelchair.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they always did before. And then this year they did like neuro, short stature,
I think there's blind.
Yeah.
There's definitely one where Kim was in vision or something.
Yeah, there's a vision.
Like-
There's a vision division. And then so I think this was the first year that WheelWOD did that stuff, where they just had way more divisions. And then also WheelWOD is now like really working with CrossFit. So like CrossFit took all those divisions.
They better
What a
have.
time. What a time.
And it's a great way to make more money. Shit.
Oh yeah,
why
for
not?
sure.
What a time.
Yeah, you got to pay like $20 to do the Open, or you could just like do it and not be on the scorecard. But like
20, I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they definitely getting a lot more people. But yeah, CrossFit, super adaptive, accessible to everyone. Like I said, I got my mom to go one time. I'm definitely getting, once like I'm fully vaccinated, which is gonna be like in a month. Like I'm definitely gonna have like people from my tribe come like work out. Whatever your
Yes.
limitations are, we'll figure out a way around it, because like that's what CrossFit is.
That's
Right.
awesome.
That's a slogan. Put that on a shirt.
Or start your own team, build another shed on the res. And you're gonna call it Shed on the Res.
Shed on the res, yeah. Yeah, I can feel like one other person in my shed. It's not that big. But there's a couple, it's funny, there's a couple like really big deal fitness people on the res who are like really into it, and all of them have CrossFit experience. Like they've moved, like,
Mhm.
someone said their introduction to fitness was CrossFit, and then she like went on to do like bodybuilder shows and stuff like that, and now
Yeah,
she's
there
just
you
kind of like
go.
a personal trainer. But she was like, I started at CrossFit. That was like the first thing I ever did.
Telling you, gateway drug.
Yeah.
Telling you. Get a little taste. All right. Well, where can the people find you on the internets?
On the internets, my Instagram is r_Bex, BEKS, Bex. And that's pretty much all where I am. I'm on Twitter, but like I just be talking shit on Twitter. Like that's not No one needs to follow that. I'm just on there arguing with people in the comments, so it's not interesting. But yeah, r_Bex at Instagram on Instagram.
Sounds good. Great way to stay in shape. All right. Fantastic. Disabled Girls out.